Okay, we are going to now set up an editing station for using the Windows platform. So it always helps to start with something. So we've downloaded one of the chapters. In this case, it's chapter 5. More than likely, you'll download chapters 1 and 2, and you'll be doing the same thing for them. Now, the first time you download any of your chapter homeworks, this is what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to right-click on your desktop and create a new folder. Let's call it homework. And let's go ahead and drag these files into it. What you're doing is dragging in both the zipped version of the chapter and the operable version of the chapter. It's the operable that we'll be working in. So what I would also suggest you do is right-click now inside of that homework folder, and let's make another subfolder and call it _zipped-files. Okay, this then allows us to, anytime you download any of the start files in the zipped form, you now have an archive folder for them. Okay, so as you proceed and you download all of the subsequent files, you will then have all of your archives in one zipped folder up at the top, and then you'll have all your chapter files down below. Now, once you've downloaded and zipped your operable file, I want you to then go ahead and rename that chapter file with your name. So in my case, it would be Robin Coons. Okay, this is important because when you end up finishing your homework in this folder, you would then zip this folder to email to me. Okay, and then that folder always carries your identifying information, your name and your chapter, and that ends up being very helpful on my end when I end up downloading everyone's homework files for me to look at them. All of the information is on them for me to then be able to operate and do my grading. Okay, so now we've got this nice folder content up here. This window is the folder content of your homework folder. If we double click on the content of that folder, you're going to then get all of the files and subfolders within it. Now, in the case of Chapter 5, they actually have a couple of different sub-sites that you'll be working on. So what we're just going to do is click on the top one as for this demo. Okay, so the content of the Lounge folder, here's the Lounge folders, the folder's title is the Lounge folder. You have additional subfolders and the HTML file. Now, all web pages that we'll be editing in our class for demos as well as in your homework are web pages. So all web pages are the HTML files. And what you need to know is any HTML file that you work in, when you see it listed within a folder for you to work on, know that if you double click on this, it's going to open a browser. It does not open an editor. So we have to do that together. Okay, so what we're going to do is kind of get used to doing things a little bit the long way initially, and then you can always do a shortcut a little bit later. Okay, so when you double click on an HTML, you basically are going to open it with a browser. Okay, so anytime you want to see what a web page looks like, you just double click on the HTML and basically you see the browsed version of the content code that you'll be working in. Okay, we need to load the code into the editor. So to do this is all you do is click on the file and the menu, click on open, and go to your desktop and find your homework folder. Double click on the chapter you're on. In this case, it's chapter 5, and we're also on the Lounge subfolder. Okay, you're going to click on that HTML and open it. Okay, so now you'll see that we've got the content of the page that we'll be editing. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you truly are editing the page that you are browsing. So the first thing I always suggest you do is find the body tag And right within the body tag is within the body tag is where all of the content is shown on a page. That go ahead and add some extra W's, Control S for save, click on the browsed version, and Control R to refresh the window. Okay, so we now see the same W's as what we see within the top line, which is an H1, and now we know that any edits that we do in our editor will, once it's saved, and then we refresh the browser of that page, we will see those revisions. Okay, this is the normal experience you have when editing a website. People do this advanced, people still work in this kind of workstation. It's not just an intro based workstation, just know that. Okay, now a couple things about Notepad++. There are two items that you should, two buttons that you should be aware of. One is the little green plus sign. There's one that's a little bit of a negative sign next to it. That's the zoom. So what I suggest you do is click on that a couple times, and you'll see that each time you click you have nice big lettering. And this is what I recommend. I don't want you to strain when you edit your websites. Okay? If you need to reduce it, you just click on the zoom out or that red negative. Now the other thing I want you to do is go 3 buttons over from the zoom out. You'll see this the tooltip of word wrap. It's pretty much that little button right there. You want to click on that, and what that does is allow for your content that you're working on not to slip under and continue on outside of the window. So you want to wrap all of the content within the size of your editor. Okay, so you can see that you do not miss any of your content by clicking on that word wrap. And I want you to make sure that those 2 items, adding nice sized font size as well as the word wrap, be part of your normal experience. Okay, so let's go ahead, and if I wanted to add some information, I'm just going to go and copy this line item and maybe add it right after Come Join Us. We would come over to your content, scroll down and find, there's the directions right there. So here's directions. Here is You'll Find Us. You'll Find Us. So I'm going to go down to the very bottom to right after Come Join Us, and very much like standard word processing, I would now paste the content I just found. Okay, now Control S or save, file save. Click on the browser so it's active, refresh. Now I can do Control R with either Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, or I can come up and click on this refresh arrow. Okay, now I've done the changes asked of me. Now, as you continue with your homework, you're going to be asked to make elements, so you'd have to type in a whole new element, so you would do left bracket, P, right bracket, and then some words, and then end that with an end P tag. Okay, so you have a full element of paragraph. This kind of editing is what's going to be asked of you for your homework. Now, a couple other things. You're going to notice that there's some different colorations that you see here. What's nice about this editor, and which is why we have you use it, is that it actually showcases in a certain color the start and end tags, while it also showcases content. So content generally appears as black lettering, and elements that you'll be using are usually in blue. You'll also see some red lettering. Those are the attributes you're going to be using. So these end up being very helpful for you as you monitor your editing and making sure that you haven't missed out on any problems or making any kind of text errors as you proceed with writing in HTML. Okay, so let's now say that you are done. You're done with all your homework. You're going to back out of your folder, and now what I want you to do, I'm going to go ahead and close all this down. Okay, is you need to now make a zipped folder, a zipped file of this folder. So all you need to do is hover over the name of that file or chapter file, right click on it, and then you're going to come down to Send To, and then you roll over to Compressed Zip Folder and click once. Okay, now you'll see your working folder and the zipped version of it. So it actually carries the original title of your folder and your name, which is what I want to see. And now this is ready for you to attach to any email that you send to me. Okay? Now, in order to properly send me the homework files for each chapter, what you want to do is go into your email account. In my case, I'm opening up a Gmail account. And you want to, when you compose the email, you want to make sure that the subject line says Homework Chapter 5, Robin Coons. And I say this because a lot of times students don't always have email addresses that cite who they are, okay? So if you put your information in here as homework, and actually let me ask you to also say Web 1 Homework Chapter 5 Robin Coons, you can then copy this, paste it, and then what I want you to do is go down and somewhere in your email account you're going to see a little paperclip, and that's the attach files deal. So you're going to click on that, go to where your homework folder is. In my case, it's on the desktop. Go into it and click on that zipped version of Chapter 5. Open it, let it load, and make sure it fully loads. And then while it's loading, the recipient is going to be my SFCC address, kunz@sfcc.edu. Okay, so this is now going to go to me. It has all the pertinent information in the subject, and it has the all-important homework file. Okay, and you can say, "Hi, Robin." Here it is. Now, every time you submit a homework file email to me, you will always get a response from me. Okay, so if you don't get a response from me within, say, 48 hours, more than likely it's going to be less than that, just give me another email. It could be any number of reasons, but generally speaking, you will always get a receipt email from me saying, I received your email, and we'll just take it from there. So good luck with everything. Have a fun time, and happy editing.